Well, good evening and welcome to About the Valley. My guest tonight is, everyone seen him on a selectmen's meeting?
Michael
Mike,
Wilkes.
Mike, yeah, and Mike, you gotta be one of the youngest selectmen ever.
So, from what I was told, I'm 22. Back in the 80s or 90s, there was
Yeah,
someone that was 18. But other than
po
that,
shop.
yes, I was, from what I've been told, I'm the second youngest, which
Yeah,
happy and honored to be.
he was 18 years old.
Quite impressive when you
Yeah,
really. I was told he used to ride his bike around to get
yeah.
voted. That's really funny, yeah.
He campaigned on his bike.
I did something a little similar. I was door knocking, not on my bike, but
Right.
walked around. But no, that's awesome. I think it's great that you have younger people starting to step up and running.
Now, is this your first stint as a town official?
So no, I got elected to the board of selectmen when I was 21. I'm 22 now, and when I was 18, I wanted to get involved in town government.
Right.
And at the time, there was an opening on the redevelopment authority,
Oh, okay.
and so I ran for that. Was on that for a year or two. Then I was actually on the planning board for about a year. And then
Oh, okay.
afterwards, there was an opening on the Board of Selectmen, and I said, you know what, I want to get a little bit more involved, try to give back a little bit more, and that's how I ended up here.
Oh. Now, the redevelopment committee really doesn't do much.
No, I was,
I think they're a little more active now.
Now,
You got some
yes.
people on that are really pushing some things.
So from what I remember a few years back, Linda, the town clerk, was kind of laughing because she was like, we've never had anyone run for redevelopment authority. And in the year you run, 4 people decided we're going to get involved. So it was like the first time in 20 years the
Wow.
board was active. So we met a couple times, and then a couple of us ran for other things in town. And I know, like you said, they are still trying to get their feet in and getting active again. And I think Lee Gaudette's running that now, if I'm not mistaken.
Because
yeah.
you got to go out and attract business.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they do come to you, but not all the time.
Exactly. You have to, in my opinion at least, market Northbridge. What's the
Yes.
competitive advantage of this town? And that's really what that committee has such a important aspect of doing. I mean, that, and we also have the Economic Development in Committee in town, which is more of an
Yes.
advisory board, but they're still very active now and making strong headway, especially about attracting business. And especially, I know we were just talking a little bit about the new master plan steering
Yes.
committee, and they just had something about attracting economic development in their proposal. So there is a lot of headway being made on that avenue, which I think is great. I know we both are very pro-business. The Board of Selectmen is a very pro-business board. And we want to encourage small business. They're the backbone of not just our local economy, but the national economy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we need we have a housing problem too in town.
100%. And I know we have a couple things at town meeting that are going to be voted upon about that. One of them is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, to build off of Providence Road.
Yes.
And we don't have all the information yet. We have the town planner coming at a future meeting, I believe.
They're still working it out.
Exactly, yeah, all the details, something so big, and you got to meet with the state, and we all know how
Yes.
slow the
It's
state
not a
is.
40B, but it's similar.
40R. It gives us a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit more control.
Right, we have more control, which is good.
Exactly.
But it handles some of the need for affordable housing,
Mhm.
which is a big problem in town.
It
I mean, the rent's now averaging $1,500 a month.
crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a big problem across the state. I mean, the Commonwealth has imposed a mandate that I think it's about 15% of your housing stock has to be labeled as affordable. And
Yes.
if not, then these developers can just come in and build it wherever they want. So we're trying
Well,
to be
then,
a little proactive.
then they come in and do a 40B.
Exactly. So we're trying to be a little proactive here and say, we don't want you to bypass local zoning. We don't want you to trample over our local control. We want to have a little bit here. So we understand we got to build some affordable housing, but let's do it in a way that's pro-Northbridge and also in a way that's pro-business, which is interesting about
And
this
let us make the
proposal.
decision.
Exactly. It all comes down to local control.
You know,
in my
we
opinion.
we had a close chance of getting some good housing on Cross Street,
Yes,
and that was a good deal,
I agree.
but the town turned it
Mhm.
down, so I mean.
Which is
that's
their
what-
right to do.
You know, it happens at town meeting, there's nothing you can do about it. Fortunately, it's gonna be a new senior center,
Very happy about that.
yes.
Very well deserved.
But I got people, and I'm talking seniors, that told me, why do we need to spend the money for a new senior center? Well, look, if you, they do a great job where they are, but they can't meet the needs that they need to hit.
So
It's just not big enough.
absolutely, Kelly,
The parking alone is a problem
that's
there.
a nightmare. When you have events, people parking up the street that are handicapped have to walk that. It's a mess.
I went to go to an event there, and I couldn't find a place. I said, the heck with it, I couldn't find a place to park.
It's awful. It really is. So I'm very happy about that. Kelly and the entire staff, amazing people. They go above and beyond every single day. They've had me for a number of events there. I know I've seen you there a few times.
Yeah.
And I always have the best time when I'm there. Really makes you feel like just a part of the family. And not only is it not big enough, but the building is just falling apart in certain areas. The elevator was a disaster. I know people were getting stuck in it. What are we doing over here?
I know, and you need to have access for the people who use the upstairs.
Exactly. Because when we had even the design meeting for the new senior center, we were meeting upstairs, and that room was packed as is.
Yes,
but there were
I
some people
remember
that
that.
were handicapped,
Yes.
and they had to get up through the elevator. And what do you do if it gets stuck all the time?
You couldn't get any more people in that room. It was
Oh,
packed.
God.
There were people outside the room
Yeah.
trying to hear. But they also, we're going to have, it's not going to be just a senior center, it's going to be a community center.
Which is awesome that they're really tying it in. I know there's Kelly has spoken to the schools a little bit, and there's really a big benefit to having some of our senior population meet up with some of our younger school population. It's great for both the seniors and the students, and it really builds that sense of community that Northbridge is kind of all about. So it's an amazing idea.
I mean, people say, oh, we already got a community center. No, that's a community center is a private company,
Exactly.
non-profit, but
This is a hub, like a community hub.
Yeah, this is a community hub and a place where we can have community events
Mhm.
that are put on by the town,
Exactly. 100%.
and even do rentals, I think,
Yes.
where people want to have a baby shower or,
Corporate event,
Corporate
something
event,
like that.
yeah, and the town can even make money on it.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Which
it's a good thing, and it's going to take a couple of years, though.
Yes, so if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 2027 is when they're hoping it all gets
Wow.
finished, but we'll
it's
see.
25, so 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're working right now, and they're making a lot of progress. The town manager sends us reports all the time, every week about it, and they're selecting the developers and the designers and project managers and the building planning construction committee, another amazing group in town.
Oh,
that
they
does
do an
so much
unbelievable
work.
good job.
Oh my, unbelievable. So they're really making some strong headway with it, which is great to see.
Well, we've had a lot of advancement in the last few years. I mean, we've gone to a new elementary school. We've got a new fire station. I mean, I always think that
The field,
the fields, yeah,
starting to repave some roads like Linwood,
yeah.
the Mumford River Walk. A lot of exciting stuff happening around town. And on top of that, too, since our new town, or I say new, since Adam, our town manager, taking over, our bond rating's gone up, which is another great thing for Northbridge. Makes it easier for us to borrow.
I don't care. Adam does a great job. I was on the planning board when he was on town planner.
Yes, back in the day, yeah.
And I was very happy when he applied, and I said, he'll be a great job, and he did. Does a great job.
Amazing. No complaints from me. Absolutely amazing. Very much cares about this town, the residents. And whenever I message him, Lord knows I message him some crazy hours, he's always right there to get back to me with an answer, so I appreciate that.
He does keep the board informed, doesn't he?
Yes, very transparent, very open. When he got here, he actually initiated that weekly report thing, which I love because I think it's just cohesiveness amongst every town department's a great
Instead of
aspect.
tying up at the selectmen's meeting, we're giving a report there, you get it on paper, right?
Exactly, and then we have a chance to read it.
Oh, we got a phone call.
Awesome.
Make sure I get this right. Go ahead, caller, you're on.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Hi,
Hey,
Barry.
Barry.
Yeah, hey, thanks for being on the show there, Mike, and appreciate everything you and the board are doing on the Board of Selectmen, and also the new youth commission, and that's a nice thing to get the young people involved in the town.
Oh, thank you very much, Barry, and we very much appreciate all you do. You're very active in the community as well, and great to hear you tonight. But yeah, no, the youth committee, we actually, some exciting news, just had our last member appointed at our last meeting on Monday, so it's now a full board. relatively new, and they've already done some amazing work, cleaned up a few areas in the town, making a plan to actually start a voter drive at the high school to pre-register students for to get more involved in town elections and things like that. So it's really great to see just a young group of high schoolers and college students coming
Yes.
together to promote civic involvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And they, you know, it's the board definitely has a lot of challenges ahead, and especially financial. And you know, I hope that you know that the Quaker Road situation and the landfill can come in under $15 million, because you know that's a quite a cost. And I mean, if we didn't have that $15 million, I mean, that's a lot of money that we could help with the schools and other, you know, town government bodies. And I don't know if there's anything that the federal government or the state could help us with that situation there on Old Quaker Street, the old landfill. But just throwing that thought out, you know.
100%. Completely agree, Barry. And I think that we have some amazing allies on the state level, both our state representative and state senator. And I talk to them pretty frequently. I know some of the other members of our board do as well. And Adam does have conversations with us all the time about Quaker and a number of other things in town related to the budget. And we're always looking to speak with them, see if there's grants available, see if they can advocate more during the budgetary season for our community. So 100%. And I think it's really about just continuing those talks and making sure that they don't fizzle out, and that we're being represented all throughout government, both on a state, local, and federal level, to make sure that we do have some access to some of those funds. So 100% agree with you.
The state's in tough shape right now on their budget, so.
It is. Our governor's not really doing us any favors there either.
No.
So it's,
Oh yeah, that's
she's a
another
disaster,
craziness.
but, yeah.
You know, we got an election next year. If we get a new governor in 27, then maybe we'll see some good changes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's, I know there's
but no, but that, you know, you have that you have that major financial challenge. Then you have the school system's present financial challenges, which you know, that's a real hard endeavor to you know, wrap our hands around. So like I said, you know, like I said, I think that some of the yourself and some of the board members might have to take some extra vacation time, because, like I said, all these financial challenges that are out there. But I don't know. It's no easy answers. I don't know if Adams appraised you yet, but the Attorney General has made some interesting recommendations on the potential sale of the town water system to the private water company. Maybe Adam will fill you in next week, or if he hasn't already. But you know, so there's so many, you know, financial issues going on, and you know, there's no easy answers. But I'm glad that you know, we have three members on the board, and Harry can tell you during the Carter years, you know, there was so much. The economic situation was very tedious, and you know, we had to lay a lot of people off from the DPW and some of the other departments, and so, you know, at least we have, you know, the people that had the experience that when, you know, those days were here. So you know, just, you know, like I said, just a lot of challenges, and hopefully we can you know, get through them. And I'm glad the senior center also has a community center, because I think that will, you know, like I said, also help the town, and also, you know, to me it makes sense, like, you know, when they do move out of the present senior center, because the town just put $75,000 into that facility. They did a new HVAC and some doors, and it seemed like it'd be a nice place for the school admin to move to. But that's just my thought, you know.
So I don't disagree that we do have a lot of challenges, not just Northbridge, but a lot of communities in the Commonwealth. And I think that is just a testament to how mismanaged the entire state is right now. But with that being said, I do want to just touch on that we are making some very positive headway, especially compared to where we were last year, at least from my perspective. There
yeah,
was
I mean, we're
no
doing the best we can, you know?
Exactly. There was no communication amongst different departments within town government, especially related to the school and the override. Certain people didn't feel like they were having answers. So after the vote, we kind of sat down, myself, the town manager, superintendent, Shannon Canoy, the chairman of the schools, and Plato, Adams, the chairman of the finance committee, and we said we want to work together. We want to hear you out. What are your concerns? Why are you guys facing these issues? What can we do from the town side to support you guys? Because if the answer ultimately is an override, we all are on the side of students. No one here wants students to suffer. We just want it to be done in a responsible way, economically and fiscally, for the other residents of the town. So what can we do to reduce some of those costs? So over the coming months, leading up to spring town meeting, we're going to have the school committee on the board of selectmen meetings regularly. They're going to be going over all of this information. I strongly encourage residents to come, ask questions, get involved. We want to hear your perspective. If you disagree, if you agree, wherever you fall on this, we want to hear from you. Because at the end of the day, I think the only way that we really make this town a better place is by talking and communicating, which is such a sad thing in the broad political environment that we can't even do that anymore without people despising each other. To your point, Barry, we do have some challenges coming up, but I do think that we are making some strong headway, that we weren't in that position a year ago, and I think it's really going to put us in a positive position to come out to start looking for some ways to also get our revenues up.
I agree. I agree. It's good that that the board, the school committee's coming and everybody's talking, because that's the only way some of these things can get addressed.
Absolutely. And one of my big questions that I heard from many residents, and I'm so happy that this is one of the things we're going to be talking about, is the revolver fund. It's so many people reaching out to me asking, why $1 million? And to be completely honest, I was never given an answer. I don't know. If you can give me a cost analysis saying over the last 20 years, the average dollar figure that we've needed is $1 million, yeah, that makes sense to me. But if the dollar figure is $500,000 or $700,000, why does it have to be $1 million? So asking these tough questions and things like that to see where we can reduce costs, I think is going to be really important over the next year, while also making sure that we can build a cohesive plan that really does support not just our school students and staffs, but our town as an entire whole.
And then would it be more feasible to do debt exclusions than a 2.5 override? Because I think they said they were potentially going to be short $5 million over 5 years, if correct. But
about 4.95, about $5 million.
You're right. So it's just like I said, it's so many. It's a challenge, and like I said, it's great that everybody's talking and unfortunately, I think if the state doesn't help us out, some departments might have to take a little bit of a haircut and then try to work things out to help the school system too. And so, like I said, it's a lot of challenges. But on a positive note, I'm glad. I don't know. We may be moving forward on a new tot lot, and I think there's an acre the town owns down there where the tot lot is now, and somebody thought, well, maybe they could put a new tennis court there also, but that's just a thought.
I was gonna say, I have heard those rumors too, and we do need some tennis courts in town now that they're no longer available at the community center. But definitely, like what I said, just a rumor, nothing official just yet, but definitely an idea that I think we should at least look at exploring.
Right, and I don't know if you remember, but when Whitensville Christian School, when they were doing their new athletics facility in areas like that, the town let them use our athletic facilities, and I don't know why they can't work something out to let the town use their tennis courts and reciprocate the favor that the town did for them when they were in the process of expanding their athletic facilities. But it's just a thought. And I think that on that project on Providence Road, the developers really need to really get engaged with the abutters the Cross Street School, and a lot of people are going to listen to the abutters. When that development comes up at the town meeting. So I really urge the two owners of the property to really get aggressively engaged in all the abutters.
There's not very many abutters
and hopefully
there,
address their concerns.
There's not very many abutters there.
It's a lot of it's in back. The people that are having a concern are a lot of the residents that live in back of Nydam's area.
Well, I know, down in what's called the Badlands.
Right. And
They're not that close to it.
Yeah, but they have some concerns of potential, drainage issues.
Right, and let me tell you, we had that problem with Shiny Rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and we did have drainage issues. We still got them.
Mm-hmm.
We had that when Walmart was located. We almost lost it.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to go to Uxbridge.
Yeah.
I was chairman of the planning board. I made sure we got it through.
Mm-hmm.
And where would we be now? We say, oh my God, we could have had Walmart. We got to go to Uxbridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can appease people. It's got to make sure that you work with them.
Right. Well, that's what I'm recommending.
Now I know the Cross Street issue. Tennis courts can be a problem, especially even worse the new one there. What do you call it?
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the noise,
Pickleball,
the ball.
because of the
yeah.
noise.
Right.
I mean, tennis is not. I don't think anybody knows the tennis courts when they were in operation on Hill Street.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But-
if they did do that, I mean, the tot lot is across the street where the old Clark Street School was, Harry.
Right,
Yeah.
I know.
Dr. Clark School.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In the Pleasant Street School.
So I mean, according to Bobby, the town owns an acre there.
Right.
And I mean, and that's where they're talking about doing the new tot lot. And and Adam is cautiously optimistic. If they do the tot lot, they're going to have some, cameras that go right into the police station.
Yes.
In like a police call box there, like they have on the college campuses.
Yeah.
So if there's any issues down there at the tot lot, and then somebody said, well, if there's an acre there, why not? Add a tennis court, but that's just another thought. I mean, of course, it all has to be conferenced out,
Right.
But hey, just some quick thoughts, and I just wanted to
If the
thank you
Linwood
guys for
project goes
being
through,
on tonight, and thank Mike for the excellent job he's doing, and I guess keep punching, and like I said, hopefully we'll get through a lot of these financial challenges.
all right.
Appreciate it, Barry. Thanks for
both
calling
you guys
in.
stay safe and be well now.
You
Okay.
too.
See you later, Ben.
Bye bye.
The other thing is, if that Linwood project goes through, they're going to have access to those fields.
Yes, that's the big selling point, in my opinion.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And there's a spot that you could look at tennis courts as well.
Exactly. Because the fields are beautiful up there, and they have such limited access as it is
Yeah.
now. No one uses them. It's a real shame.
It's a long walk.
Yeah, very long walk. I did it a couple times. But yeah, no, so definitely tennis courts up there too. I mean, so that's part of the thing, in my opinion, and that's why I'm so happy we're redoing the master plan, because we're really able to set out a vision for the town.
If I did that right, okay, I guess I got it right. I know where Barry's coming from, but that Linwood project, it'd be a great boon for the town. And that's the other thing too, I wanted to talk about. The school is saying they're short $5 million.
So what the projected budget was last year, based off the estimates, it was about a $4.95 million deficit
Yeah.
over 5 years. Now
But yet their class sizes are going down.
So these are the conversations that we're going to be having
Right.
over the coming months. And so when we presented a list of topics that we thought we wanted to hear for the superintendent, from the school committee, and over the last year, the amount of residents that have reached out to us, and I think it's great. I encourage them to. That's our job as your representatives. Give us the questions. So we presented it to the schools, and they're going to put together, like I said, these presentations. But one of the big things that I heard was administration and class sizes. And so the superintendent agreed that she absolutely wants to be as transparent as possible, as open as possible, give people the raw facts, let them make up their minds how they think that the vote should go. So very excited to hear that, and I intend on asking some questions during those meetings. I know my colleagues on the board intend on doing the same.
Well, that's important, people hear about class sizes going down, and say, if class sizes are going down, why do they need more money?
Mhm.
Should probably be spending less, but that's not necessarily what happens.
And from my understanding, I try to go to a couple of school committee meetings. Different students cost a different amount to educate, and that was one thing.
That's where the big problem comes in.
Exactly. That was not, in my opinion, properly articulated during the last election. And I think
Right.
a lot of people felt that the schools were deliberately trying to mislead them based on that number. After speaking to the school committee and to members of the administration, I don't believe that was their intent. I legitimately believe it was a lapse in communication. These things are complicated. They rushed that vote last year.
Yes.
And that was the main objection that I had for it. It was rushed. It was not enough time. We didn't do the research.
Right.
So I'm just happy again now that we're able to do that we're able to ask these questions. Why does a student cost 3 times more to educate than another student? Can you please break this down? And I think it's great that that they're doing it, because it being televised at the selectmen's meetings now gives residents an opportunity to tune in, to listen to it, to get all the facts and make up the mind for
Well,
themselves.
that problem goes back many, 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 many years.
Oh,
I
yes.
remember many years ago talking the same situation, over 20 years ago at town meeting.
Well-
And what it is it's certain handicaps, and the money doesn't follow the student fast enough.
That's the issue. That's the real, and I know that they're working
The
on
student might come in
legislation
here
for
from
that.
another town,
Mhm.
and they have to take care of that student's education, sometimes even send them outside of the system because it's so severe. And yet the money isn't compensated, because it's still being compensated to their old school.
Exactly the issue. And I know that the superintendent's brought up that they're working with the state to try to rewrite some legislation. As you
We've been
noted,
talking
that's been
about-
an issue for 20 years
They've
though.
been-
So.
Yeah, they've been talking about rewriting that for 20 years.
And one of the things that I've encouraged people is that, as I said, we saw so much passion over this last local election. Reach out to our state officials. Reach out to the governor's office. These are the people that directly control how much money we're getting
Yeah.
from the state. Bring this passion to them. They have the opportunity to make that change. And if they hear enough voices, especially the governor's office, they're going to start allocating more money in their budget down towards education and stop spending out on some of these ridiculous things that she's doing now.
Well, she dipped into the school monies.
The rainy day fund's been completely depleted.
Yeah, and all over illegal aliens.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion as even a local elected official is my job is to the people that elected me. That's my highest obligation. And to me, some of these policies just lapse complete common sense coming down from the state. And it's directly hurting communities like ours that are struggling because our state leaders, the governor, can't seem to just focus on common sense issues that are really hurting the people that she so claims to represent.
Well, they say, oh, they're aliens, and we're all from. I have parents that were grandparents that were aliens, but when they came here, they weren't given anything. They had to make it on their own.
So, we recently just came back from Italy. I had the opportunity to go to my dad's family's hometown, and it was my great-great-grandfather that immigrated here. And he came here, did not speak the language,
Right.
learned English,
Yeah.
was a cobbler, and worked so hard he was able to put his 2 sons into medical school, my great-grandfather and his brother. And one became a dentist, one became a doctor. They were both in the military. And to me, that's why I'm involved in politics. This country has given my family so much on both my mother and my father's side. They came here with nothing.
Right, but they earned it.
And they earned it because they believed in the American dream.
Right.
They knew that if they worked hard, that if they followed the law, that if they elevated themselves, they would be able to build a better life for their family. And I'm so blessed that they came here and did that the right way, because I can't even imagine what my life would be like outside of this country. Going to that little village of 351 people, it was frozen in time. So to think that they were willing to risk everything, come here, do it the right way, put everything on the line just for their family to have a better life, how can I not give back? And I don't understand certain so-called public servants that sacrifice these principles for people that completely spit in the face of everything that so claims makes this country great.
Right. And what you say, we're handing that money over to them, $1,200 every 2 weeks. They don't have to work. Paying their hotel bill, giving them medical. Well, come on. Like I said, my ancestors came here. They didn't get anything. They had to make it on their own.
Now, Poland, right?
Yes.
So my mother's family from Poland, they escaped gulags, concentration camps, came here with 11 cents, same thing, didn't speak the language, worked in a factory, taught themselves English, and sacrificed to give their family a better life.
Yeah.
And it's sad to me that, and I want to make this clear, so many people that come here the right way and that uphold those principles and truths, and to me it's an even bigger spit in the face to them that want to do it the right way, that we're rewarding people that are skipping the line, that are committing crimes, that are doing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me at all. It's just a common sense issue.
On my mother's side, they came down from Canada, ended up working in the mills.
Yeah, like so many people in this town. They immigrated here the right way from Poland, Canada, Armenia, ended up working in the mills, built a better lives for their family. I mean, that's
Didn't
the American
get anything
dream's
handed
all
to them,
about.
they earned it.
Exactly. And that's an issue that my generation faces now.
But getting back to the school issue, I understand what and it's still. I know part of the problem they're going to have is it's time to renegotiate pay scales in the system, and everybody deserves a raise. And you earn it, so you deserve it, and they got to work that out. But they just come before the board like they did last year, and say, "Hey, we need $5 million." Oh, you're not gonna. I don't see this town ever doing an override.
I don't know. I think if it's done in a way that makes sense, and that's my thing, is I'm not anti anything off the bat.
What scares everyone is once you override, 2.5 is gone.
Yes.
And then, the reason we got 2.5, and I'm not going to mention his name, but a gentleman that I'm very good friends with that was on the finance committee way back in the 80s, he said it was easy back then. He said we'd sit down, we'd ask everybody what they needed for a budget, put it all together and say, okay, here's what we're going to set the tax rate at. There was no limit.
It's not like that anymore, yeah.
No, now it's not like that. So 2.5 made them have to look twice at it. Too bad the state doesn't have the same situation.
That would be ideal.
Right. But the thing is, to change it back, people are afraid. And they're going to say, well, we're going to go back to what we did before, and the taxes will go through the roof.
I understand those concerns, and I think that they're warranted as well. Now, I'm a fiscally conservative person. I like low taxes. I like balanced budgets. Again, common sense. That's my mantra. If it makes sense, let's do it. So I understand, too, that the schools operate in a little bit of a different realm, and they're a little more fluid than the town budget. Just as like we were talking about how certain students might come in with disabilities and that drives costs up. We don't have that on the town side, and I'll grant them that 100%. But at the end of the day, I think that if you're going to come to the voters and say, we need more money, A, you better be able to prove it from every angle, and B, it better be a respectable figure. I think the fact that it was $5 million over 5 years when you couldn't tell us what the budget would look like next year scared a lot of people. Like, for example, we ended up getting some additional funds this year from the circuit breakers. Representative Meridian fought for us and got us some additional funds for the schools to lower that deficit.
Which bailed them out.
Exactly. So things like that happen. And as I said, the budget's fluid. So I think the fact that you were trying to plan 5 years out with a $5 million figure really scared people. If you can put together a reasonable proposal that says these are our immediate needs, we need to address this, and this is how we're going to do it, cost by cost, think more people would be willing to at least listen.
Well, here again now, if they came in and said, we need to do, not an override, but a debt exclusion to pay for this certain things we need, like certain equipment, and they had equipment in their budget, but they had it in the budget. If you do it separate, and it's a one-time purchase, people will go along with that. They do that all the time here.
Yes, Northbridge is very, I say, pro debt exclusion. They typically
Yes,
pass for
because
most
they know
things.
after it's over,
Goes
it's
away.
gone.
And that's a conversation that I know myself and a couple members of my board and the finance committee have brought up. Certain things, I think it makes sense for the schools to look at a debt exclusion. If they need to, for example, and again, this is all just hypothetical spitballing here, build a modular building, why would you go for an override for that? Do a debt exclusion and pay it off after 30 years. It makes so
Right.
much more financial sense, and more people are willing to buy it. And if you're able to prove to people that you're being fiscally responsible with their money, when you come to them and say, we're really in trouble here, we need some help, they're going to be more inclined to help you.
Right, I mean, they were talking security system.
Mhm.
Well, that's a one-time purchase.
Mhm.
You know, we're not talking salaries, and there again, they're gonna have to look at what positions they have, and are they always necessary? And that was brought up.
That was, and I know that those are going to be conversations, like I said, that we're having over the coming months. And I think it's great that we're having them now and not a month before and rushing the whole thing. So
Right.
voters can ask questions. And like I said, I encourage voters and town residents, reach out to me, other members of the board, show up to our meetings, ask these questions during public comments. We want to hear these things so we can give you the answers. You have the right to know.
I mean, when I went to high school, that was a long time ago, we didn't have a dean.
Mhm.
Now they have deans. I mean, they have deans in the college for years, but this is now in high school level. I don't know what the purpose is.
Mhm.
We had a principal and an assistant principal. Now they have multiple assistants, multiple principals.
Mhm.
Is it necessary? I mean, they got to justify it.
Exactly, and I don't think it's a crazy ask to say justify this. If you want us to spend money on it, justify it. And at the end of the day, if people are satisfied with the answer, they'll support the
I
proposal.
mean, I know there's a lot more involved today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's more discipline problems.
Yes.
There's more,
But part of that, in my opinion, goes back to parents not wanting to parent their children properly.
Oh,
and not
that's a big
discipline. Yeah,
factor.
that's the major issue. And they expect the teachers to do it, and teachers aren't able to.
well, and
and
they
they-
shouldn't be responsible
shouldn't
for
have
that.
to,
No, they shouldn't be
exactly.
there.
They're there to teach, not discipline.
See, I always said if you got a kid that's a problem, you put him out of the system until he decides it's not gonna be a problem.
Now, my father and mom, they would always talk about how my mom, she went to a Catholic school, and she said, and her and my dad's family all went to Catholic schools, and they said, if you got in trouble with the nuns, you were even in more trouble when you got home.
Oh, you better believe it.
And it's not
Well,
like
when I went
that
to school, it
today.
was the same way.
Yeah, people today, it feels like the parents are willing to justify the actions and not
Yeah.
support the teachers for disciplining the kid, and I think it's a bit of a messed up system when we're not
There again, you know,
teaching.
the private schools don't have a problem with discipline because if you're a disciplinary problem, you're out.
Exactly, they just done. They don't want to deal with it.
Whereas with the public system, you're stuck with the kid, that you can't put them out. And that's what I think that's something we have to look at, or have a special school system.
Mhm.
That when you send, that's where they go.
Definitely interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Just
That's something that have to be handled from the state level.
yeah, that's too big for any town to
Right.
pass a decree on and start
Yeah.
working. But it would be interesting to see a conversation at least on the state level based on that, and just again hear both sides of the argument. I think
But,
that
I mean, today it's so different. When I went to school, we didn't have psychiatrists.
Mhm.
Now they have school psychiatrists. They have, we had guidance counselors, but they weren't as involved as they are now.
Mhm.
So I mean, really, it's hard to say. Maybe you got to change the courses. Maybe we need to come up with some more sharp courses.
so that's something that they're looking at. From what I was told, over the last couple of years, they've added woodworking and now culinary, or home ec rather,
Yeah.
and they have just exploded with engagement. The
Yeah,
classes
see,
have
that
been
if a kid, you
exactly,
give a kid reason to be there.
And so one of the things that they did was move the 8th grade up to the high school. So
Yes.
not only did that make financial sense and saved us a bit of money, it also exposed some of these 8th graders that were going to BVT, which cost us money, all the things that the high school has to offer, the home ec and woodworking classes, the business classes, all the different clubs, things like that. It really
Right.
showed them what Northbridge had to offer. And so we're seeing that some kids are really staying because they see all of their different options here. So I think that was a really smart move. Not only did it make financial sense, I think it from all the kids that I've talked to thus far, they love the fact that the 8th graders are in the building. Everyone seems to be getting along, and the 8th graders seem to be loving all the new opportunities that they have.
I've had the former superintendent for BVT here a number of times.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good guy, but I always used to say, that school originated for people who weren't gonna go to college
Exactly.
to go into a skill.
And now they're very selective.
Well, now, and he says, well, I have no choice because everybody wants to go, so I gotta have a way of screening them. But I don't know if that's the way, and I said, why do they need to go to college if they're gonna be a plumber?
Exactly.
Well, he says they might wanna run a business, so they need to learn they go to business school. Well, no, I know a lot of plumbers that didn't go to school, that do very well for themselves.
Exactly.
It doesn't take a lot of brains to run your own business.
And that's the thing. I think so many kids, I just got done with undergrad. So many people are forced into college because they feel like that's their only option. No,
Right.
the trades are unbelievable. You can make easily over 6 figures.
Yeah.
Plumber, carpenter, electrician. And if we actually encouraged people that said, I'm not that interested in school, there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's a little different. If you're interested in a trade, go pursue that. I mean, you contribute to the economy, you contribute to society, it's fantastic, you enjoy it. And then other people are more inclined to say, I want to go be a doctor, a lawyer. There's that option too. I think
Right.
that people need those options. I agree with you. I think that they should be left a little bit more open to people that feel I'm not going to go to higher ed and I
Right.
want to get into the workforce.
We need skills.
Absolutely.
We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need carpenters.
And AI can't replace it,
No.
which
But that's the other thing too, though. A course in robotics,
that would be, yeah.
4 years of robotics. Because industry is gonna be changing over rapidly. Tesla's already talking about that. They're gonna replace about 75% of their employees with robots.
Wow.
Because they're building robots now that act like human beings.
It's scary, some of the stuff. It's
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
So they'll be doing the chores on the assembly line, which also, nobody wants to work on assembly lines, it's repetitious.
Mhm.
So robot, but you need someone to repair that robot, you need someone to
Exactly.
program the robot.
So we should be, I 100% agree. I know the school does have some CAD classes, some computer engineering classes,
Right.
but I'm sure, especially as that technology advances, and it's crazy even just to see over the last 2 years how much AI has exploded. I'm sure that they're definitely going to start exploring avenues like that.
I'll
It
tell
only
you,
makes sense.
down at the chamber office, they put together their school there. And they're doing fantastic with teaching robotics and everything else.
The chamber's unbelievable.
Yes.
They do so
But
much.
that's what a school should work with them.
Mhm.
They got a number of schools that work with them right now.
So funny enough, at the school committee meeting, I want to say it was Tuesday, the superintendent announced that they got a grant for robotics. So they're actually making this cohesive robotics club across all of the different schools in Northbridge, from the elementary to high school, to kind of make this, again, builds off of each other,
Yeah.
learning as you go up. And I thought that great idea. To your point, that's where all the jobs are going to be going. It's great
Yeah.
to get people involved in
But
stuff
that's
like that.
also where you get kids that are not interested in academics.
Exactly.
They find that, this is
All
very
hands
intriguing.
on.
And okay, I got to do the other stuff. Well, I'll do what I have to do there to get by, but I still like the robots.
Exactly. 100%.
But you can show them how you need to know your math, you need to know reading comprehensive and comprehension and things like that to be able to build robots.
Absolutely. It all ties in. The science of it, even the history, if you think about it. I mean, you
Yeah.
read stories about Nikola Tesla or people like that, and
Yeah.
it inspires you to try different ideas.
Right.
And so it absolutely all ties in. And like you said, we should be fostering those kids'
We need to look
passions.
at education from a different aspect.
100% agree. I think it should be a state's issue. And I think that the states would do a much better job running
Yeah.
it because they know what their
Well,
people
they
need.
they're the financial support for it,
Exactly.
and they should be promoting that more so.
100% agree with you there.
But we're getting down to the wire here. What are your future plans? You want to stay on the board for a while?
So I want to continue serving as long as I'm able to. It's my belief that no one, and this is not a knock on anyone, should stay in office or one office for too long. I think that as our founders were very clear, this should be you want to give back, you want to get involved, and I'm happy to do it as long as the good Lord allows me to. Would I like to continue serving and on this board and eventually higher office? I'd love to. It's honestly one of the most moving things in my life and really gives me so much meaning to be able to meet with and talk with so many residents that have become so friendly and really just get to see a positive impact that you
Well, you
get
may
to
be
make.
looking for state office or
Who knows what the
federal
future
office.
holds? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's always possibility of it. Never want to rule anything out.
Right.
But at the same time, I do intend on fully serving out this term that I'm in right now. My loyalties lie here with Northbridge.
But like Charlie's been there for a long time.
Yes.
But he does a good job at it.
Now, local
The
government's a
experience.
little different because I think that, too, there's so few people that even want to run that
Right.
I think the term limits might even be a hindrance there. I'm speaking more of state and federal
Right.
office. But no, it is great to have some of our more distinguished members that, know some of our history and the laws behind it and why it is a certain way, and they're able to pass on that knowledge to newer people like myself or Selectman Paulus that's relatively new.
When there was a strong movement back in the 90s for term limits.
Mhm.
And George Peterson would say to me, we have term limits. I have to run every 2 years. You limit my term right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But here again, and I would point out to him, everyone hates the state legislature, but they love their own legislator.
Exactly, right?
Oh, come on.
No, absolutely. I think, too, just about federal office. I mean, our congressman's been there for, I think, as long as I've been alive, if not longer than that.
It's been a long time.
I don't...
I worked on Peter's campaign.
Mhm.
In fact, I know Peter very well. He worked at the radio station
Yeah.
I work at. But he only had 2 terms,
Mhm.
and he got defeated by McGovern. He's been ever since, and that goes back to the middle 90s.
Yeah.
And he's not leaving.
No, no ambition to. He's one of, if I'm not even mistaken, he's the ranking member of the Rules Committee, or the House and Means Committee.
Well, he's the ranking member now. He
was the
chairman
chair, when they had control.
when
But,
yeah.
no. I know there were a couple people a few years back that ran against him and tried to take the seat and flip it, but which was the first time that he's had opposition in like you said, decades.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Worcester kind of swung that election.
Well, what they did too is they gave him Amherst,
Yes.
which they'd vote for Satan as long as they put a D after his name.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, people were talking about gerrymandering. Most people don't know that it originated here in Massachusetts
Yeah.
with Eldridge Gary.
Eldridge Gary.
Yeah, the governor
that's how
at
the
the
name
time.
came about because it looked like a salamander.
Salamander. Yeah,
They
exactly.
called it gerrymander.
So I always thought that was a funny piece of history. Whenever people would bring up to me, gerrymandering, I say, yeah, but my home state, that's where it's from. So
That's where it originated.
yeah,
And it's more so here than anywhere
else, yeah.
And when we lost a seat in Congress after the last census,
Mhm.
that's when they gave him Amherst to make sure he would
Keep it, yeah.
keep locked in. And it's too bad, but we have no Republican representative.
I think the whole delegation is an embarrassment, to be
Yeah.
completely honest with you. But yeah, no, not a fan of them at all. I've contacted his office on a few issues before relating to, this was before I even got involved in local office, and I always felt like I was being very much dismissed, like I wasn't being represented, and I don't know, it just always left a very bad taste in my mouth. Anyone, like I said, that's been in federal office for that long.
Well, yeah, when they get in there for a long period of time, they figure they're safe.
Exactly. I don't, because it's something like 93% of incumbents
Yeah.
don't lose federal re-election, which is crazy to me, just because the
It
money
is.
involved and the name recognition, and it's become so brutal too, politics. We wonder why people don't want to get involved, because if you're a decent person, you just see the toll that it not only takes on you but your family, and like you think to yourself, why would I want to go through this?
Why would you want to die in office? God, take a retire. They get a good retirement check.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and just the money too that's the reason. I mean, they're all in it. The money and the power.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
see them there for 20, 40 years in federal office, I mean, how do you make $174,000 a year and have a net worth of hundreds of millions of dollars?
I know. Isn't
right?
that
Like,
amazing?
yeah.
How that takes place over in a very short period of time. Some places.
It's disgusting. I mean, you're supposed to be there for the people, by
Yeah.
the people, and of the people, and very quickly, it seems like many of them forget that.
And they always say, "Well, we got to get the money out of politics." But you're raising more money than anybody.
Exactly, right? Or
So don't. You'll never get the money out of it.
in my opinion, I think that we need to make it as transparent as possible. Like you
Right.
said, I understand that people are always money's been involved in politics since ancient times. There's no way
Yes.
that that's ever changing, but we need to make it 100% transparency, so you can see exactly who's backing who, where they're getting the funds from, how much they're getting it from. And there are other reforms that we can take too, but that's a big one in my opinion, transparency. Because I think if a lot of people knew the corporate lobbying and the PACs that were backing their
But
senators.
that's at higher levels.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
When I ran for planning board, I never spent a nickel.
No, I mean, I've spent a little bit on signs and whatnot,
Yeah.
but nothing crazy, never anything
No.
to the point where I've had to throw a fundraiser.
Yeah, people say, "Are you going to spend any money?" No, what, we spend money for a job doesn't pay? I mean, out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now yourself, now you're chairman now. this
Yeah.
year. You find it any different?
It is a little different, I will say.
You have to work hand in hand with the town manager.
Yes. So, and Adam has been great. He's amazing to work with. He's an amazing sidekick to have.
Yeah.
Like I said, always very knowledgeable. Tells you the facts. Make sure you know all the options. What do you think we should do? Here's every potential option that we have.
But it takes a
in
little
front
more
us.
of your time now.
It does. It is a little bit more time consuming. You know, you're there a little bit earlier to meet with him and other selectmen that might have comments or concerns that they want to raise. Or sometimes you have to attend, if it's a regional thing, something like that, which
Yeah.
I don't mind doing. I think it's, like I said, a tremendous honor. And I've truly enjoyed every moment of it. I've loved every second of it.
And your work doesn't interrupt you.
No, so I'm very lucky in the sense that I have a pretty flexible work schedule. I work hybrid, so 1 week home, 1 week in the office, and I'm able to kind of orient my schedule to whenever I have a meeting at night, I'm able to make sure that I have that time carved out, which as long as I'm able to do that, like I said, I want to keep on serving the people of this town.
Right, yeah, because at the one time I was in the guard, I was on the planning board, and I was also working full-time.
Well, people don't realize how involved you were. We were talking about this a little bit before we got on. When we were at the Berkey Park dedication, you've been on over 10 boards at one time. You were involved in town government for 40 years. I mean, I've been in now and for about 5, and it can be pretty time-consuming at points. I can't even imagine 40 years, how many hours went into that.
I do say, "Why don't you run for selectman?" I said, "No, I don't want the job." Really, it's kind of a thankless job.
It has its moments where, you know, you can feel like, wow, there's no matter what decision I make, someone's going to be
Right.
a little upset.
Oh, you're never going to please everyone.
No, and I will say, when I was on the planning board, I never had people reaching out to me at 7, 8 o'clock, which again, I think it's great
Right.
that people do. I don't mind that they do. I encourage them to. Just sometimes if got to make sure that, you know, I'm up a little bit later than I normally would be otherwise, so I can take the calls. But other than that, I think it's a great experience. I've absolutely loved it, and the people of this town are truly amazing. It really is a gift to represent them and serve this community.
Yeah, now you get all the complaints, but you have to handle it.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly. It's part of the job. I mean, And I think that I look at it in a way that they want to make the town a better place. These are issues that are affecting them on a daily basis.
Yes.
They're looking for us to give them a little bit of relief, and if we're able to offer that, happy to do so. And if I can't do it directly, happy to get you in contact with the department that can. And I think that's something that people oftentimes think that the selectmen can wave a magic wand. Most of the time, we're a liaison between another department or board or something like that. So it's a lot of acting, like I said, like a
It was
liaison
a
or
lot tougher
diplomat.
years before we went to town manager government.
Oh, I can bet. When they had to manage like the direct
Yeah,
day-to-day.
well, then the chairman of the board was actually the town manager.
Yeah, that must have been a whole
Had to
nother-
make a lot of decisions. In fact, I remember during the blizzard of '78, was the chairman of the board who had to make the decision to declare a state of emergency in Northbridge. And, you
Wow.
know, and open up certain things and handle certain things, and overtime for the highway people, and, yeah. It was a different type of, and he was working full-time.
Yeah, that must have been a crazy period in his life.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
But anytime something came up, it would, a lot of decisions were put on him.
Yeah.
So all we had was a secretary in the office.
Mhm.
Then we went to a town, like a glorified secretary.
Like we have the
What they
town
call
manager's administrative assistant.
Administrative
yes.
assistant, that's right, you went to administrative assistant. They didn't have any power, but at least they could make certain decisions.
Yeah. So it's a pretty nice system how we have it now. So the selectmen are still the chief executives of the
Right.
town, but we act more as kind of the board of directors and set the
Yes.
long-term policy, where the town manager is the chief administrative officer. He acts almost as like the CEO, and he makes the day-to-day decisions,
Right.
runs everything on a
Right, and
daily
he has a lot
basis.
more control. I mean,
Yeah.
back then, we had a lot of boards. I mean, the Board of Health was separate, it was elected.
finance committee was a whole
Finance committee,
thing.
you know, they weren't elected, they were appointed.
Appointed, but they had a lot more say. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you had the highway department, you had road commissioners. You had a lot more, and they were all elected. That's the one reason too, I don't think we see it much in the elections. There's not a lot of elected positions in town anymore.
No, there's the few main boards, and then we have pretty much it. Other than that, yeah, the selectmen, school committee, soldiers, trustees, planning board, housing authority, and
Yeah.
redevelopment committee, I think, and that's pretty much.
Yeah,
And then the
that's
rest
about
of
it,
them are
yeah.
just appointed, or
Yeah,
yeah.
so, you know, you don't see the people, well, what are you gonna run for?
Which I will tell people, there are vacancies on those appointed boards, so check out on the website, and if
Yes.
any of them interest you, send in an application. We're always looking.
That's always been a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 2 vacancies on a cable advisory board now for years.
Mhm.
I said, it's a 7-member board, why don't we make it a 5-member board? But now it doesn't matter because we have no need to do anything right now. We got a new contract for 10 years.
Which it can become a real problem though when you're trying to meet and you don't have a quorum
Right.
because of it,
That's
and
why I
it's
said,
like, yeah,
let's
you
cut
can't
it
do
back.
anything. Yeah.
I had to get all 5 members to show up, so I had a quorum.
Yeah. Makes
If
it very
we moved it down to a
difficult.
5-member board, we could do it with 3.
Exactly.
Well, we gotta wrap it up. Thank you for coming in, Mike.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Harry.
Okay, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.